On a warm summer night in 1996, the quiet town of Denton, Texas, was shattered by a chilling crime. A young woman, full of ambition and promise, vanished without a trace. Her name, Marissa Sanders. She was just 22 years old, a bright journalist in the making, and her story would grip the nation for decades to come. Marissa was last seen leaving her late-night shift at a local diner, waving goodbye to a coworker before disappearing into the night. The next morning, when she failed to show up for work, alarm bells rang. Then, 3 days later, the town's worst fears came true. Her body was found near the shores of Lake Ray Hubbard. The cause? Strangulation. Denton was no longer just a quiet town. It was now a crime scene. And despite the lack of solid forensic proof, he was convicted and sentenced to life in prison. The media played their part, painting Jon as a violent drifter. Talk shows dissected his past, speculating about his guilt. In the eyes of the public, Jon Pierce was the villain. But was he really? Investigation frowny face cut to modern-day interview with Linda Matthews. Determined expression. Fast forward nearly 3 decades to 2025. Enter Linda Matthews. But here's where it gets darker. Linda discovered evidence of corruption. Witness statements had vanished. Key pieces of evidence were ignored. And then, an investigator from the original case finally cracked. Under pressure, he confessed, "I was told to bury the evidence pointing to Harris. If I didn't, I'd lose my job." The deeper Linda dug, the clearer the picture became. Marissa hadn't just been a random victim. She had been investigating fraudulent land deals involving powerful Denton officials. One of those officials, the judge who presided over Jon's trial. With overwhelming evidence, Jon's case was reopened. The courtroom was packed as Linda presented her findings. The DNA results, the hidden witness statements, and the investigator's confession. The jury deliberated for hours before delivering the verdict Jon had been waiting 29 years to hear. Not guilty. Jon Pierce walked out of prison a free man. The fallout? Immediate. Robert Harris was arrested for Marissa's murder. Corrupt officials resigned. Some even faced criminal charges. Denton had to face the ugly truth. It had locked up an innocent man for nearly 3 decades. For Jon, freedom was bittersweet. He had lost everything, his youth, his dreams. But he refused to let his suffering be in vain. Together with Linda, he launched an organization dedicated to fighting wrongful convictions, ensuring no one else would endure what he had. "We can't undo the past," he says, "but we can make sure the truth is never hidden again." And that, my friends, is the chilling story of how one man was wrongfully convicted, how corruption buried the truth, and how justice, though delayed, was finally served.